On the bright side of things, at least my beer league team won tonight. Even got a shutout, so got that going for me, which is nice. Now I don't want to alarm anyone. Is your debris making too much noise all the time?
I haven't really prepared for this.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Hawks Recap. My name is Clay. Thank you for tuning in. The Blackhawks just completed their 41st game of this shortened 56-game season. And, well, it wasn't very pretty. Blackhawks lose tonight to the Dallas Stars by a final score of 5-1. Now, before we talk about this game, and I'm sure all of you are super excited to talk about this game, I do have a couple announcements to make. Number one, the Blackhawks did make a trade earlier today, and by earlier today, I mean yesterday or Thursday, depending on when you're watching this video. I did make a video on said trade, and there's a link to it down in the description below, so check it out if you haven't already. And then number two, I need to make a special shout out to our newest super fan of this channel. ColdToes has decided to make the plunge and become a Patreon supporter, a certified super fan of the channel. I cannot thank you enough, ColdToes, for making the jump into it. I know he's been a viewer of this channel for a very long time, and like I said in the last Hawks recap video, I appreciate everyone who watches these videos and is subscribed to this channel. Like, that is support enough for me. But there are some people who decide to also support me monetarily via Patreon, and that's just ridiculously awesome. ColdToes has made the jump to doing that. I have a one tier, $1 a month that you can do. ColdToes has decided to do $5 a month, which is just insane to me. That's above and beyond, already going above and beyond. ColdToes, I cannot thank you enough. You are awesome, and yeah, thank you so much. Now, unfortunately, that kind of ends the good news for this video, so if you're all about good news and don't want any sort of bad news, make sure you turn this video off. The rest of this video is basically bad news. Blackhawks did not play all that well tonight. Special teams certainly did not help, which has kind of been a theme the last month or so. Blackhawks special teams really letting the team down. Now, they didn't give up a shorthanded goal tonight, but they still went 0 for 3 on the power play, and they still gave up 2 power play goals to the Stars. The first goal of the game would go to the Stars just over 9 minutes in. Dallas on the power play. Lankinen would make a ridiculous save on Jamie Benn, but there would be a rebound, and Roope Hintz was right there to put it into the back of the net. It's basically a wide open net with Lankinen basically sprawling out after that ridiculous save. So they would take an early 1-0 lead, but the Hawks would end up out-shooting the Stars 16-12 in that first period, and they would end up tying the game up before the end of the period. Just under 6 minutes left to go, and Blackhawks are forechecking. Hinostroza picks up the puck and he makes a ridiculous pass over to Dominik Kubalik. Cross crease, back post, and Kubalik would beat Hudobin to tie this game up 1-1, and that's how this game would go into the second period. Unfortunately, the second period would be none too good for the Blackhawks tonight. They got outshot 14-8 and gave up 3 goals. It really all started with Dylan Strome's penalty 17 seconds in. The Blackhawks actually had a power play to start the second period, but that penalty negated the power play, and it ended up with a 4-on-4 situation where Nikita Zadorov makes a really bad turnover in the defensive zone, which the Stars take advantage of to make it a 2-1 game just over a minute into the second period. The Stars would get a power play a little bit later on in that middle frame, and Heiskanen would just rip a shot past Lankinen to make it 3-1, and then with just over 6 minutes left to play, Duncan Keith blows a tire, and it leads to a Blake Comeau breakaway, and he converts on that to make it 4-1 going into the third period. Blake Comeau would then score his second goal of the game just 50 seconds into the third period, and, well, that's pretty much your game. So definitely a disappointing result tonight for the Blackhawks, especially when you consider that Nashville beat Detroit 7-1 tonight to put themselves 4 points above the Hawks in this push for that fourth and final playoff spot. Now, there's only 15 games remaining, so there's not a whole lot of time for the Hawks to kind of gain ground back and eventually put themselves in the driver's seat for this playoff push. I think ultimately this season is going to come down to the 3 games against Nashville and 3 games against Carolina, but that's assuming that the Hawks can take advantage of all the other games in their remaining schedule, and that all really starts with the 2 upcoming games against Columbus. The Blackhawks need to win both those games. In Columbus, I mean, they're also kind of fighting for a playoff spot, but they're definitely on the outside looking in. So it's certainly winnable games for the Hawks. These next 2 games, they definitely need to, not really play like they did tonight. They need to get their special teams in order. They need to find a way to win those games. And with that said, I'm going to end this video because, quite frankly, who really wants to talk anymore about tonight's result? Thank you so much for watching this episode of Hawks Recap. I hope you got something out of it. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments section below. Like, share, and subscribe. Appreciate that as always. But most importantly, stay safe, make good decisions, and I'll see you next time.